Hi, my name is Lorraine, and if you'll give me a second to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. Okay, I'm not sure where to start. I'm not sure where to start because right now we are in a place where we're just playing out what's already the mechanisms that have been put in place. But these mechanisms are breaking down, and they're losing energy, they're losing drive, force, momentum, and so they're petering out. And I feel like people would be upset if I said what I'm thinking, but I'm going to say what I'm thinking. And these events, what's happening right now, whether they be political, environmental, social, they are the minutia of what's happening. They're incidental at this point. They're not going to change the outcome of what's happening, because the events, the outcome was decided a long time ago. What occurred, the specifics of what's occurring and how it's occurring, has been fluctuating with the flow of energy. The momentum, what's been built up in negative and positive energy, right? The push and pull of those two have determined the flow of what's happening. So the little specific components have shifted a bit, but the major flow of events have been predetermined. Meaning that we were always going to have some type of push and pull between positive and negative, and there was always going to be an outcome of balance prevailing, the divine's will prevailing. So this video is not about what's happening day to day, because that's already been predetermined, or that's already been played out. We're just kind of dealing with the remnants of the major events. Okay, these are just the little pieces that are left, that are being swept away, metaphorically speaking. And so I was watching a video, or something. Was it a video? Yeah, I think it was a video. And they were talking about ancient technologies that have been hidden under certain places on the planet. So Giza's the first one that comes to mind. And although I feel this information is interesting, we all know that information's been withheld. We all know about, most of us know, who are awakened, about the oppression, the slavery, the control of information. But that's all a moot point. So as I was watching the videos, the raptors came in, the beings in the water, and in a previous video I've said that the raptors have the crystals. It was their job to protect the information in the crystals. So the most important, the most relevant, the most impactful data is being protected by the raptors. And as I was getting this information, I was like, well, what about the beings in the water? Everything comes in about the raptors. I get so much information about the raptors. And the beings in the water are always there. But I haven't gotten any information about their exact role. And but they're always very supportive. But what's clear to me is the raptors have gone in and gotten information, data, crystals, wherever that information is being stored, and they have it in a safe place. And the other information that came as I was watching the video was that it was near the heart of Mother Earth. And so then in the past, I've talked about the four major main beings, these large beings, and they're actually whatever they need to manifest to be to protect the heart of Mother Earth. But I've heard people describe them as very large beings, very smelly beings. But the feeling I got was that the raptors took these and took them into the heart of Mother Earth for safekeeping. And that these beings, that I don't have a name for them, but they represent fire, water, air, and earth. They are protecting the information. And so whatever is still in these locations, or whatever was removed from these locations, is not the most, let's just say it's not the most coveted information or documents or storage of information that was available. So that information, that came in very strong. But that was just today. This past week, very important information came in. And this, so over the last 2 years of me doing videos, I get little bits of information. It's very similar to how when I had my spiritual awakening in 2016, how I would start having visions, and each vision was in isolation. And after 3 or 4 years, I would start making connections to the different visions I've had over the years. Same thing happened with the videos that I put out. So this week, there were a lot of dots connected. And so I don't know when I did the video, but I did a video where I was talking about that first wave of information going out from the heart of Mother Earth, or from Mother Earth, from humanity, about the transition. And I had said that there was this main being in the middle, and he might be perceived from our perspective as being, I would say, ugly, but he was a very stoic, balanced, neutral energy. And I saw just a line of beings of every possible, I don't want to say race, but every possible world in the universe. And they were lined up, and they were coming up, and they were walking up to him, and they were looking at him, and then going to the other side. And they were coming up and going, and coming up to him, looking at him and going. And there was like this epiphany and this understanding that happened by these worlds. And so this vision I had represented that understanding. It represented the wave that was hitting their world and giving them information. So they know where Earth is at in our transcendence. I also talked about the mantis beings, their role in DNA, and how they understand DNA, and how they are like the stewards of DNA in the universe, and how they are working to integrate every being in the universe's DNA into our DNA here on Earth, because we as humans embody the depth and breadth of emotion, positive and negative. And with that, we carry the depth and breadth of emotion of love, of unconditional love in our heart. And that is the greatest power or gift in the universe. Divinity's source energy, that source energy is unconditional love. And if we, humanity, embody unconditional love, we are the greatest source of energy, we are the greatest extension of the divine in the universe. And as we grow and develop, we will affect the rest of the universe through the waves of energy that are being projected from Earth. And that's why this transcendence is so important. That's why everybody transcending must transcend from a place of balance. If you are not in a place where you are balanced in your energy field, then you will not transcend here on Earth. You will move to another world, and which is in the Cepheus constellation, and you will begin this cycle again until you are ready to transcend to the next level. There is no room for error on this world. And that's why this whole process on this world has been very rigorous. It's been a very rigorous process. It's been a process of vetting, basically vetting who can move through all the emotions of this emotional body and still move themselves back to center. And I've said we're not expected to be perfect. We're not expected to be in the middle all the time. But what we are expected to do is when we shift out from center, we are expected to be able to identify that and move ourselves back into center. And that is about discipline. That is about being disciplined in our practices of our spirituality, of our energy. Okay, understanding our energy and being able to, I don't want to say control our energy, but be aware of it and move ourselves from our heart center back to center. Okay, always when we're moving in and out, we have to always connect with our heart to move us back to center. Okay, that is what this process has been. And so I always seem to go back to the special forces, these men in the special forces, because I believe a couple videos ago I talked about their mastery of not only the emotional body, but of time, the emotional body, time, and heart, And we all have to learn those lessons. And many of us have. But these men have mastered it beyond where most have, okay? And so at this point, I want to talk about the different roles. So on Earth, the indigenous people of all continents have always been stewards of the Earth. They've always been stewards of Mother Earth, okay? They've taken care of Mother Earth. And that role, our role is changing as we become universal beings, as we become beings aware of having a role and a purpose in the universe, okay? Our perspective is changing. We're becoming more aware of our light bodies, our spiritual nature, our connection to divinity, the source, the creator of all things. And as that happens, we are now connecting in a different way to from a place of consciousness. Our conscious minds are connecting out to the universe, okay? So this is where our role is shifting. The divine feminine and the divine masculine, okay? And the blurring of the lines of this divine feminine and divine masculine. And this is not true, well, it is, I don't want to say it's true across the board, but it is kind of true across the board. We must return to this, our understanding of our roles as feminine, female, as our role as mother. Mother to our children, mother to our families, mother to the earth, caretakers, okay? Animals, trees, all those things. Now men can also play a role here too, but then we also have to honor men in their role as protector of the family, the land, more from a territorial perspective, and therefore of the earth, but from a different perspective, okay? And the best metaphor I can use is, we had a dog. It was a very specific breed, and the breeder told me she noticed over decades of breeding these dogs that the females were very protective of the family. They always were with the family, but the males were always protective of the land. So the female will come around and check on her people, where the male will go out and check the parameter of the property, go all the way around the outside of the property, sniff, smell, whatever, make sure everything was safe. And I think that's a good metaphor for what we are transitioning to. Females being the protector of the home, the family, the upbringing of our children, the consciousness, the understanding of the self. We have a profound effect on our children and how they see themselves and what they value, and teaching them boundaries and love and respect of the self and love and respect of the world around them, right? And then we have a protector that protects that family, those values, those principles, okay? And that would be the male in this, from a microcosm, okay? So as we transcend, the role in the universe, our role in the universe is going to change. We are no longer stewards of Mother Earth. Humanity will transcend to be stewards of the universe. That is why the mantis beings are integrating all DNA into humanity. Okay, we must have the whole of the universe physically integrated into our body, because this world, embodying the depth and breadth of emotions, will affect and transcend the rest of the universe. It will bring unity back to unity. Okay, so unity started as one whole energy. It divided itself up into duality, the positive and the negative. That's a very basic description, but let's just say the positive and the negative. And eventually unity needs to reunify as one. It needs to reunify the positive and the negative and unify itself. That comes from this world, okay? Because of that, there is a lot of fear about who we are and what we will become. This is my perspective. That's why when I say what's going on in this world is the minutia, because I know we are transcending to a completely different place. So all this stuff happening right here, I can't focus on because this information keeps coming into me. And I can't stop it. I just have to receive it and send the messages. So what that does is, now that message went out. Remember I just said that message went out. Each planet now knows that we have transcended to a different place. They don't know what we're doing, how we're doing it, what we're going to do. And now they are questioning us. And now they are maybe feeling fear that they haven't felt before. So in a way, this negative polarity, as we're transcending from a place of love, the negative polarity is sending out a message of they're transcending from a place of they're a warring species, they're going to conquer you, right? So they're sending out a different wave, okay, which makes humanity and Mother Earth vulnerable. Okay, it makes us vulnerable during this time of transcendence. That's why we've had a lot of higher level beings helping fortify Mother Earth from the outside, not what's going on planet, but from the outside. They're putting a protective field around us because we become vulnerable during transcendence. Okay, I'm talking to you about this right now because our greatest source of energy and protection for this world through transcendence is going to come from these guys in the special forces. The mastery of the heart, of time, and the emotional body. That mastery is going to protect this world. Their thoughts are so strong that they can readily put a protective field around this planet they don't have to use a weapon. They can put an energetic protective field around this planet. But should there be any type of conflict, they already have the skills to physically protect from a place of balance, from a place of heart, from a place of understanding time, and from a place of, through controlling the emotional body. But I just got a message. It's like, as a unifying force, the more that comes together, they actually can affect time. I think there's a person I talked about in the past who's already starting to understand their power to control time through their consciousness, not through any of these machines that they have, that I've heard about, through their consciousness. And so this world will be protected from this world, from Earth. The people out in space who are running those programs out in space, they're too far removed from Earth. They don't know what Mother Earth needs. They're driving from Earth, planet Earth, and these people out in space have been so far removed for so long, there's a disconnect through the compartmentalization. Okay, they talk about the 20 and back. So all these people that go out into outer space for 20 years, they haven't been on planet for 20 years. How do they have any connection to what's going on? Okay, they don't. And they don't live here. Okay, they don't spend every day here. They don't go to work here. That's us. And so it is our onus here on Earth to protect this world. Those people need to come back here and reconnect with Mother Earth because they're too far removed. They're too far removed from their mother. So I just feel so strong right now. I worry about talking about this stuff. I worry about talking about this stuff a lot because these messages aren't for everybody. They're just for very specific people that I know can see this. And I worry about vulnerability. So I need to stop worrying. And I just need to fortify energy. So, so there need to be preparations put in place, training put in place to make sure that these men that are here on planet understand what their role is. Because this is your path and purpose. You did not go into this field to do what you've done in the past. That was just, I want to say, a test, just like my traumas in my childhood and up through my adulthood were a test for me. You had this test to show that you can move through these experiences and still remain centered and still connect with your heart, and still know your power from a place of compassion and humility. And so there needs to be some type of program, plan, and training, because not in the distant future we will start having more threatening energies from the universe coming to our planet to try to control us, because they covet our power. They covet our gift. And if they can't have it, they want to control it, just like this negative polarity on Earth did. There's going to be a lot of energies of a negative polarity coming, a lot of energies that are not necessarily negative, but aren't fully connected to the heart, that are responding to fear, that are coming just out of fear, right? Just, they may not be horrible, bad, malicious people, but out of fear of losing their way of living, they may come here and then align themselves with these negative polarities to try to usurp, control, or oppress us again. Okay? And so we have to have not a force of military strength in weapons. We need a force of strength through energy. It has to be through energy. We are going to affect the world, the universe, from the most positive, loving place of balance. We will represent the divine in our interactions with the rest of the universe. And therefore, it must come from the heart. It must come from the heart, and it must come from energy. It must come from projecting energy. Okay? And so, and I just saw Merlin come in, and he's like, I'm going to start showing you how you can use your energy field as your greatest defense and your greatest offense. And this is not through these whatever they use to enhance you out in the secret space program. It can't be through doping, drugs, or whatever they're using. It has to be natural. It has to come from your DNA. You have to tap into your DNA. You have to tap into that source energy that's within you, that light energy that's within you. And Merlin just came in and said, I'm going to start showing you how to access that. And it's going to be very specific people at first, because it's the people that they connected with a few weeks ago when I said that they were in awe. I don't even know, maybe it's a few months ago, of your gift. When they said, we need you to access your heart and project love. And then the next time I did another video, they said they were blown away. That was what they expressed, is just amazement at what you were able to produce, just by that request. And he says, so those people that he or they were tapping into, whose energy field they acknowledged and were able to identify, will be trained. So it's very specific people. It can't be, just send down certain people. It's going to be very specific people that he requests. And he will start to show them how to access that ability within, that they carry within. And then those people, they'll bring more people in and train them on how to train others. And so it's going to be a long process, because this isn't something that, I'm going to train you and then send you off. It can't be that way. There has to be the master, and then the like the graduate student, and then the student. And I keep on, the whole week I kept on seeing these visions of Jedis, But Jedis have weapons, and there will be no weapons. This will be pure energy. This will be a purely energetic force. And what's interesting is that many worlds, I don't know if there's any worlds who at this phase of transcendence have this ability to affect energy at this level and be able to defend their people and their world solely with energy, without weapons, with thought. And so this is an incredible gift we have. So we must always drive forward from heart, because heart is not threatening. Unconditional love is not threatening. Okay? And so we must always, always come from that place. So only the most disciplined will be trained in this field. And many, the first already have this ability naturally, just because of many will have this, will already have this gift naturally, like this one man I was talking about. But Merlin will fine-tune that and help accelerate, because everything's moving so fast right now. Everything, I just feel like, I felt when I got this message that it was premature, but they're like, no, right now. When I had my spiritual awakening and I had all those white lights around me, and they were like the shape of marquees, and they were all around me, and they're like, we need you to wake up right now, let's go. And this week when I was getting the message, and I'm thinking to myself, this is premature, and they're like, no, we need these guys right now, we need to go, let's go. Everything is moving really fast. And so again, Merlin will be very specific on who is brought in or down. There's nothing to fear. Nothing to fear from these energies, from the raptors. Nothing. They are paladins of love and light. But we must respect the boundaries. You respect their boundaries, they'll respect your boundaries. Okay? They are beautiful, loving people. I don't know, sometimes I feel like I need to talk about something, and then sometimes I get a feeling like, no, I shouldn't talk about it. It's not time yet. But one of the quandaries that I find is, one of the quandaries I've experienced is I know somebody who never ever talks about his experiences, and has never told me about his anything other than he's been in the military. And I know a lot, but I respect that boundary, and I never broach the topic. And he is one of the most gifted people I know. He's one of the most untapped sources of energy on this planet. And he has done the 20 and back, and I don't think anybody, he doesn't know it. But he is, my feeling is that he is one of the main sources of energy on this planet to help protect it, and his path is such as, his path is that's where he's meant to go. But I have no idea how he'll get there. But I do know we need him. I know it. Mind, body, and spirit, heart and soul, every part of me. But the traumas of those experiences, just here on earth, make him unapproachable at this time to even broach the topic. And so the issue I have, or the struggle I have, is that how many others are there like him who are the most balanced, gifted, loving, compassionate people you would ever meet, who are the most trustworthy people, carry the most integrity, and are gifted with the greatest power, and are absolutely stewards, protectors, sentinels of this world. How do we help them to know this about themselves, to understand this about themselves and accept it and become part of this transcendence? And I feel like it's something I shouldn't concern myself with, that I should allow the flow of energy to happen. And what is meant to be will be, and it will be in divine right time. And so maybe the reason why I'm saying this is that as we go through this process of vetting, that we not force people who are not ready to move in this direction. Because I think once things start moving forward and become revealed, and as these truths become revealed, that they will be able to access the information, the memories, and they will find the confidence within, and the love within, and the forgiveness within. That's a big one, forgiving yourself, to be able to move back into that role of a protector, of a steward. Because I think one of the main things that happened is these men went out, did their actions, did whatever what they were asked, and then they came back and wondered, did I do the best thing? Was I helping? Was I the darkness? Or was I the light? And maybe most times they felt like they were the darkness, and so that's a place they never want to go back to. And so the revelation of what the purpose was and where they are now, and the importance of their role, and the forgiveness of themselves, understanding that it was part of the process to make sure that their intentions were pure and clear, might help them move back to a place where they're able to move to take on the role of defender, of protector, of steward and sentinel. But it's coming. It's changing. And the people who are aware of this, the energy, the flow of energy, the way the universe works, who are highly intuitive, who are trained through the military and special operations, they are going to be the main source of protection for the planet as a whole against not foreign invaders on this planet, but of otherworldly beings who are fearful and feel threatened by the gift and power that is inherent in Mother Earth. It would be inherent in any beings born on this world. And we are those beings. Okay? And it's the surface beings. The surface beings. There's been many other civilizations on the surface, but none of them transcended past this point. They didn't make it. We are going to make it. It's been predetermined. The raptors don't have the emotional body that we do. The beings in the water don't have the emotional body we do. But they're important because they embody an understanding of the reptilian energy, and the beings in the water have a very strong understanding of aquatic beings. And although there are many other types of beings, insectoids come into mind, there are many other beings in the universe that will eventually be integrated. These are the closest. And these are the ones who have a similar thought process to us, maybe a similar, I see a brain, so their brain, their functions are similar to ours. There's many other beings in the universe that don't process information the same way, so they're not going to perceive our energy and our role the same way as, let's say, being aquatic beings, reptilian beings, beings like us, mammalian beings. They're not going to perceive things the same way. So how we approach them will be differently, and how we interact with them will be differently. But right now, at this phase, it's these energies that will be the most threatened, and these energies which will be the most likely to come here and confront us, threaten, provide ultimatums. And so that's why the reptilian beings as well as the aquatic beings have been seated here. There are allies, and as well as our neighbors, right? We live together on this world. And as we expand and grow, we'll reach out to these other worlds in a different way, but we need to learn more about them. But they're not going to perceive our energy field the same way these other energies that I just mentioned will. So I was hoping I wouldn't be asked to talk about this, but I will. I feel like every time I turn around or I talk to someone, they're telling me that somebody they know has passed, or a family member has passed. And when my dad passed, there was a large, long wait list for just to have the service and the burial. And they alluded to that there were more people than usual passing. They didn't say anything about any diseases or viruses. They just said there's a lot of people passing. And so this week I got the message that the higher self is calling them home. That many people who are not ready to transcend really, everybody thought that there would be like a disease would take out a lot of people, a shot would take out a lot of people, a lot of, they're thinking catastrophic events, and what I got this week was that the higher self is pulling back and removing the person from this world. So, and it's allowing maybe disease to manifest in their body. It's allowing them to pass. So the higher self, the person themselves, has made the choice to leave this world. I do feel like the more the negative polarity resists the transition, that it creates more push and pull and more friction. And that friction between these two energies will cause more events on the planet, natural events, weather events, earthquake, and so on. The coronal mass ejections are just a natural part of this process. The sun, what's going on with the sun, is a natural part of this process. The earth does not affect the sun affects the earth, okay? But there will be events that happen on this earth that may be catastrophic, but there are many catalysts for the transition that are happening right now. And between these two eclipse events, so we just had a solar, and today will be a lunar eclipse, and then at the end of the year, I think it's October and November, we'll have another solar and lunar eclipse. In between these two eclipses, there's going to be a lot of that friction and a lot of that jarring energy happening. It's there's two sides to every bridge, and I brought this up in 2020 also, but so we're at the first solar and lunar eclipse is one side of the bridge, the in between is the walk across the bridge, okay, and then at this other side of the bridge is really when things are going to start to come forward in a more positive place, from a more positive place. But that interim is going to be really rocky, very shaky bridge. But that's just planetary, you know, that's just on the planet. The biggest thing that we need to focus on has to do with fortifying the energy of Mother Earth, because those energies are already on their way here. They need to nip it in the bud. They want to stop it before it gets to a point where they can't stop it. And we know that they can't stop it, but we need to do our part. We need to connect with the higher self, find our path and purpose, and start walking our path and purpose. The good thing about some of the gentlemen that I know connect with telepathically through these special training, they know, but they need higher level trainers and not out from out in space, from here on Earth. So I'm not sure if they know that yet. but because that message just came last week. But that is where we're going. That's where we need to go. So I think that's it. Thank you. Bye.